To the surprise of some Christians, enemies of Christ often seek to discredit his claims of goodness and godhood by demonstrating instances of immoral, sinful behavior in his life as recorded in the gospel accounts. In an essay that appeared on evilbible.com, one critic wrote, "Dear believer, I refuse to accept Jesus as my personal Savior, for his behavior and teachings often expose one who should be escaped and not worshiped." Popular atheist Dan Barker observed in an article titled, "Why Jesus?" It would be more reasonable and productive to emulate real flesh and blood human beings who have contributed to humanity, mothers who have given birth, scientists who have alleviated suffering, social reformers who have fought injustice, than to worship a character of such dubious qualities as Jesus. Another critic of Christ has stated, Jesus taught few precepts that he himself did not violate. According to the Bible, Jesus was a hypocrite and not really perfect after all. Allegedly, Jesus did many questionable things throughout his ministry that should cause one to flee from him rather than to follow him. One of the questionable actions of Jesus was a command to his disciples to allegedly steal a donkey and colt prior to entering Jerusalem during the final week of his life. According to Matthew's gospel account, Jesus instructed his disciples saying, "Go into the village opposite you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Loose them and bring them to me. And if anyone says anything to you, you shall say, 'The Lord has need of them,' and immediately he will send them." Luke added, "So those who were sent went their way and found it just as he had said to them. But as they were loosing the colt, the owners of it said to them, 'Why are you loosing the colt?' And they said, 'The Lord has need of them.' Then they brought him to Jesus." Regarding this account in the life of Jesus, Dennis McKenzie asked, "Are we to believe this isn't theft? Imagine seeing a stranger driving your car away while claiming the Lord needed it." Supposedly, Jesus told people to take a colt without the owner's permission, and that, says McKenzie, is commonly known as stealing. Dan Barker commented on this passage in his book, Losing Faith in Faith, From Preacher to Atheist, saying, "I was taught as a child that when you take something without asking for it, that is stealing." Did Jesus really encourage his disciples to steal a donkey and a colt? Question: if I emailed my wife and asked her to walk to a neighbor's house and pick up his truck so that I could use it to haul an old furnace to the junkyard, would someone who read this same email, perhaps finding a hard copy of it crumpled up in the trash, would he be justified in concluding that I asked my wife to steal the truck? Certainly not. Since the email had no other information in it than the request to my wife concerning a neighbor's truck, a person reading the note would have to have access to additional information in order to come to the conclusion that my wife and I were guilty of theft. This person may be unaware of the fact that I had prearranged such a pickup with my neighbor the previous day, or perhaps my neighbor had told me at some earlier time that I could use his truck whenever I needed it. What Mr. McKenzie and other critics never seem to take into consideration in their interpretation of Scripture is that the Bible does not record every little detail of every event it mentions about Jesus or anyone else. In fact, in the very last verse of the Gospel of John, we learn there are also many other things that Jesus did, which, if they were written one by one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. The case of Jesus telling his disciples to go locate the donkey and colt does not prove thievery any more than Jesus' disciples inquiring about and occupying an upper room makes them trespassers. When sending his 2 disciples to get the requested animals, Jesus told them exactly where to go and what to say, as if he already knew the circumstances, which he did, under which the donkey and colt were available. Jesus may very well have prearranged for the use of the donkeys. No critic can prove otherwise. Similar to how I am not obligated to go home from work every night and rehearse to my wife everything I did every minute of every hour at work, The Bible is not obligated to fill in every detail of every event, including the one regarding the attainment of 2 donkeys. No charge of wrongdoing on the part of Christ is legitimate if one or more reasonable possibilities of honest harmonization exist. Does Jesus not deserve the same treatment we expect today? Innocence until proven guilty? The innocence of Jesus and his disciples is reinforced by the fact that the disciples were able to leave with the donkeys. Had the disciples really been stealing the animals, one would think that the owners would not have allowed such to happen. Also, nothing is said in the text about what happened to the animals after Jesus rode them into Jerusalem. For all we know, Jesus' disciples could have immediately taken the animals back to their owners. Skeptics who accuse the Lord of thievery have no solid ground upon which to stand. Unless it can be proven that Jesus' disciples took the donkeys by force and without prior permission, justice demands that the accusations of guilt be withdrawn.